gentlemen, from the fighting city of Mount Vernon, South Dakota, which feels like it's around the corner, and one of the great defensive players in the history of Minnesota Vikings football. We need more witnesses and a louder round of applause for Chad Greenway.
Let's go.
Damn, bro, you got a standing ovation back there.
Look at that. We're doing St. Cloud every week.
Look at the standing
We're coming back next week.
Look at the standing O.
This is a first.
Yeah, you haven't had one of these in what, 10 years?
I'm going to walk out and come back in.
Yeah.
I think. Just do that again.
Wow.
Wow!
Man, holy cow!
And speaking of standing ovations, somebody quite familiar with standing ovations is former Minnesota Vikings tight end Kyle Rudolph. Couple of things here. First, he will be on the 9 to noon radio show Monday in studio at 10 a.m. Probably for the rest of the show, but definitely for an hour. So make sure you listen to that. Rudy Studi at 10 o'clock Monday. Secondly, Kyle has retired after an illustrious career with the Minnesota Vikings. I believe he has the most touchdowns of any tight end in the history of Vikings football. And Big Boy finished playing with Tom Brady in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
That's not a bad way to go out.
So at Twin Cities Orthopedics Performance Center yesterday, they had a ballyhooed retirement ceremony, and the host and the man introducing Kyle is his dear friend Chad Greenway, who's here with us now. What was that like yesterday, and how did Kyle handle everything?
Well, after I got done calling him a sellout for going to New York and then Tampa.
Yeah.
Oh, I played for the Giants.
Yeah. Don't forget about that year.
Damn. Well, that was like Lieber's St. Louis year, 2011.
Right.
Can't talk about that again.
The same.
So it was an honor for me to be able to go introduce him, bring him and his family up. And, for me, I was in my fifth year when he came in. Second round pick, obviously a lot of name notoriety. Had a great career at Notre Dame.
Yes.
Notably that 95-yard catch and run, like that people remember from him in college. And when we got him, he had just come off a hamstring injury. He wasn't full speed, but you could tell that this guy, just based off size, was going to be a unique cover. I mean, hard to cover. And as he got faster and his game came together, he had some unbelievably good years. I think his biggest year was maybe 83 to 5 catches the one year.
That's a good year. For
really good year. And obviously, if Kyle walked in, he blocks out the sun. So it's like his only other option was to move to left tackle, but he doesn't block. So,
wait, did you use all that?
No.
Right, this is good material.
Phenomenal.
I was on my best behavior. So,
that you talk about the speaking stuff you and I talk about.
Yeah.
That was beautifully delivered right there.
I kept it above board, and quite honestly, what it is with Kyle, and as fans now, and I'm a fan now, is like athletes come through, new athletes come through. You have hockey, hoops, all these different sports.
Yeah.
But how many really connect with the community and give back and want to reach out and be a part of it? Like, to me, like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And
Kyle was great with that.
Kyle was so good with giving back, giving his time, going to hospitals, giving his money, giving his time and resources. And I think as fans, I have to believe that matters when you're celebrating them, and yes, you're cheering for them and frustrated with them sometimes, but they become human when they're just part of the community and part of, like you're just a citizen of Minnesota and being a part of it. And that's what I celebrated him for mostly. So
well done.
He handled it well. His speech was great, and gave all the credit to all the folks around him, and much deserved. But let's be honest, that dude was like a 5-star recruit. He had nothing hard ever in his life. The dude was born 6'6".
Born to play tight end.
Beautiful hair. I mean, you can't make it up. Not everybody was like that.
Well, and there are a lot of high schools in the Cincinnati area, but there only really are two to go to for football and basketball. One of them is Moeller. He didn't go there. He went to the other one.
Yep.
And so, he even went
to pay to play bit down there in Cincy. In the Catholic League.
He went to like the school that plays Moeller.
Yep.
And it doesn't necessarily take as many L's as on a soccer field last night, but but they were super, super competitive with each other, and that's pretty much all I have for that bit.
Well, he went to Elder, and Elder has when you have a high school stadium named the Pit.
That's pretty cool.
It means you go to a high school that's better than Mount Vernon, South Dakota, of which you have to cut and bale the hay before you play.
Chad's appearance weekly is courtesy of Grey Duck Vodka. You got this this nitro piece here.
Yeah, tell us about this.
We just
My
decided.
man's got a nice Grey Duck bottle right there too. that you signed.
We just decided to go big with Grey Duck. New product launch today.
Wow.
It is a spiked nitro cold brew made with our very own Caribou coffee. It's going to be a big time product for us, and we think, just obviously we're so proud of what we've done in 5 years. Obviously, a ton of fans. You have people bringing bottles. We're going to be at Coborn's Liquor at 12 o'clock to sign bottles and stuff over there. And
In Sartell?
And in Sartell,
Yeah.
on Pinecone Road.
Yeah.
And our new products launched today. So we've always appreciated the support, make good products for good people. So love it.
This is the beauty of being in the vodka business is you have boundless creativity with how you want to mix
Yeah.
it with other things.
Yes.
Because vodka goes with almost everything. If you're in the gin business, you're not drinking coffee gin.
You find me somebody who doesn't like this, and I don't want to be there.
You're
Okay?
out.
We're out.
That's the litmus.
We're
test.
out.
That's it.
Okay?
Hey, in closing for this segment, what happened this morning? JG's super smart and he's crafty and he wins initials, the qualifying bit. That's not surprising, but you took an L with a 0 and JG just kind of ran away from you. What happened, Coach?
I play in the car every week like everybody else.
Yes.
And get 3 to 4 like everybody else.
Yeah.
Okay? And I played enough to know better. I went in there free mind. Had some nice juice this morning. Had a little coffee.
What were the
I was all
initials?
fired up.
Yeah.
FS. So
FS?
he comes out with FS, and I immediately go, boom,
F-
write down
Free safety.
7 things. First one was on my list was free safety.
safety.
Of course.
Frankenstein.
And of course, Cove does not have free safety
safety.
on there.
No.
But I had 5 things listed. Felt good. Even threw a couple clues. Made a guess.
Feel safe?
And just then get to clue 8 and the panic sets in. It's like, I'm not going to get one of these zombies.
Yeah.
What
I'm
what
in
were
trouble.
what were some of the answers? Like some of the
Freak shows.
freak shows. Okay.
We
Freak
had
shows.
floor seats.
Floor seats. That's good.
So floor seats was tough. So I kept going to
Yeah.
courtside seats, but there's no C in there.
Yeah.
So we can't have that one. And then I was going suites on the back end with the S. But what's the F in front of suites?
Right.
My brain was just in La La Land.
Yeah.
Well, if
here we are.
if it's FS, okay, and one of the clues was Rex Ryan, okay,
Foot specialist.
foot sensuality,
Foot sensuality is what we're looking for.
That's what
right?
It's FS was
FS.
I took a hard L. I had a bunch of excuses lined up. I chose to not use them now, and I sucked. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Good seeing you, my brother.
It's a tough game.
Chad's going to be here for the balance of the final hour of 9 to noon from Buffalo Wild Wings St. Cloud. You're listening.
Hey, on the Fan.
Walking down the street till you're fancy. I turned it on when she looked at me and said, "Come here."
5-2 Radio, Chad Greenway, Grey Duck Vodka, Grey Duck Spirits. Thank you very much for the sponsorship and the assistance. From 0-2, it's a 17-game piece. You're at home. You have the Carolina Kitties next week, winnable game. Then Mahomes at home, Mahomes here. So as a player, when you were 0-2, and there were, in 2008, you guys, your second season playing, third season in the league. You guys were 0-2, and you ended up winning the division. Now, in 2013 or 2011, something like that, one of those real bad years, you guys were 0, and it kept getting worse. So as a player, 0-2, how do you handle it?
Yeah, it's when you look at 0-2, you're stared in the face at 11% chance to make the playoffs, and that's why numbers suck.
Yeah,
it's
right.
because you read that number as a player, you're like, okay, there's just the chances are smaller than they ever have been.
Right.
But 0-3 is absolutely nothing burger. It means you're not making it. And I
Right.
think the reality here is that you looked at week 1 as you didn't know it was a guy to have it win, but knowing you're going to Philly in week 2.
You needed that.
Thanks. I just so upset the league put us in that position.
Yeah.
Sucks. Who wanted to be going to Philly on a short week 2? But if you want to know, things are a lot better off and a lot easier. So we got to go back to that possession with 4 minutes left against the Bucs to say we got to find a way, right? Because that's what we did last year to go 11-1 in one score games. Now you see here 0-2. When you have a must-win in the third week of the season, every fan is holding their breath.
Yeah.
Because we know that this thing can tip. Just like PA said, it tips one way or the other. You win this game, our team is good enough, clearly, to rattle off 6, 7, 8, 9 wins and get yourself in a great position. We did that before with Mr. Gus Farrat, who was slinging it back in 08.
How about that?
I don't care what anybody says.
Yes.
He was absolutely masterful that year.
Well, wait a second. He had to take over for T-Jack because T-Jack got hurt. Gus went 8-3
Yeah,
during
then
the
what?
course of the regular season. So how did he do in that playoff?
Yeah, then what?
Oh, wait a second. So he wasn't the one.
T-Jack, short right side to the Eagles cornerback for a touchdown. Asante Samuel.
Bruh. So he wasn't. That's unbelievable you said that. So Gus wasn't the one the offensive coordinator, Darrell Bevel, was imploring all week. Look, you got Asante Samuel over there. You got this L named Sheldon Brown over there.
Yep.
Never throw it to that side.
Don't go that way.
One of his first passes, Samuel side, pick six, dagger.
And the sideline just goes, oh. And
Never
Gus is
forget
sitting
that.
there. I remember the Brian Westbrook rumbling, bumbling, stumbling, about 64-yard touchdown run on the screen.
Oh, wow.
And that was Brian Westbrook, by the way, very underrated.
Yeah, very
good player.
Yeah.
Where's Waldo?
Where's what?
That was a Where's Waldo player.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't.
Yeah, when
Absolutely.
you guys would play him, I can't remember who the coordinator was, and it also was situation maybe with him, but maybe with Donovan in 04 when they lost in the divisional round. The Where's Waldo bit,
Yeah.
it's like with Westbrook because he was capable of literally doing everything,
Yes.
playing every position at an A level.
Yeah, smart, undersized, could pick up the blitz,
Yeah.
understood protections, and I remember he caught one in the flat on me. It was just one-on-one tackle, which is why you're paying me,
Yes.
right? And but it always comes down to is if you stop your feet, there's a reason he plays running back and you don't.
That's right.
And he just gave me this, and it was like drop to a knee, like about lost my hamstring.
You buckle. Yeah.
And but no, so go back to the original point though. An 0-2 football team has to be a desperate football team, and I don't mean that in a negative. I mean that in a positive. Is you have to go out and you have to scrap for everything. And you got to fight, scratch, and claw for this win. This is so big. And guess what? We have a really good 0-2 football team coming here.
Yeah.
Right. So fans have to be ridiculous on Sunday.
It matters.
It matters so much, and our fans are always good. U.S. Bank is clearly the best stadium in the league, hands down. We have to show up. We have to show out, and third downs with the Chargers have to be a miserable experience for them. And we have to continue to feed this beast of, like, we got to believe in ourselves first. And, a little momentum. Get our offense going.
Yeah.
You get some stops. I mean, it's got to kind of build on it, and then you get one win, and we know we're capable of being a really good football team. But let's get one in the win column first.
Is this, with these two 0-2 teams, is this what delineates a really good coaching staff and a bad coaching staff in that, the desperation can go both ways? And you already hit on this. Like, I mean this in a good way when you're talking about desperation, right? I would think there are desperate teams that play focused. Like, we've got to have this. We're going to gel. We're going to come together because we're desperate. And there are other teams that are really in they're desperate in a bad way. And then things go bad and they, self-doubt creeps in and things can go ugly.
In games like this, your ability to play one snap at a time and just completely free your mind of the previous snap, good, bad, or indifferent, is going to be your ability to move forward as a team. And can you do that across 11 positions if you made a mistake or missed a block or Kirk's on his back or Kirk makes a bad throw, whatever happens, your ability to clear that out and move on to the next play in a game like this is going to matter so much because everything, every play, every second is going to be under the gun and scrutinized. And it's going to come down to, guess what? A possession in the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left to win the football game. That's the NFL. That's why we're all captured by it, because every game comes down to that, unless you're the Niners.
Or the Giants. Well, the Giants managed to do that last week, and not on Thursday. So turnovers have obviously killed this team. Tell me just a little bit about, and you've been on the other side. Your offense turns over the ball 3 times, and you're like, what goes through your mind when you're on the field and your offense turns over the ball as many times as that happens, and your time of possession, like last game, was 40 minutes to 20 minutes. What's happening for you as a defensive starter when your offense keeps giving the ball away and you're back on the field?
Teams with great culture, and I've been a part of both of the sides of these things, I've been a part of teams that you react negatively because your head's down, like this again mentality.
Yeah.
But I've been on really good football teams with good culture, good coaching, and I still believe this is the case with this team is we're going to buckle up and we're going to go get a stop for our offense and we're going to make it right because we screw up too, right? And that mentality of all hands on deck, every piece of the ball has to win there a little bit. And if the offense makes a mistake, we got to have their back. We got to buckle up and get a stop. And that's just the mentality you have to have in the league. But our ability to take care of the football is a real problem.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about the talking points you could just recreate as a copy and paste for every team in the league is what's number one? Take care of the football.
Yeah.
If you give a good team in the NFL more possessions, I mean, good luck. And defensively, we have to limit one side of the run of the pass game. And it's always, can we stop the run and make a team one-dimensional? At home, with crowd noise, second and long, third and long situations, that's an advantage for Daniil Hunter. That's an advantage for our defensive line. We have to be good against the run. And after last week, we're not feeling good. 130 yards, before he was touched.
Yeah, crazy.
We didn't determine if that was a record or not, right? But again,
we didn't determine if that's a record. But it's a lot.
You got to take care of one of those, the run pass, because defensively, what's a copy and paste talking point? It's got to be one or the other. You got to force the team to be one-dimensional.
Elite commentary by one of the great defensive players in the history of Vikings football, Chad Greenway, with Paul Charchian, and I'm Paul Allen. I'm departing to head to the Vikings facility to take in some practice and talk to the coach for the pregame. Thank you very much for coming out today. Most importantly, thank all of you wholeheartedly for your dedication to KFAN. All the radio shows, each and every day. You guys are unbelievable. God bless you. Charch and Chad will continue after that.
They're seeing you out of here.
To listen to the fan.
Final segment, 9 to noon today, brought to you by Casey's, where Casey's has an amazing deal. For $4, go to Casey's.com, find a Casey's location near you, by the way. You can get a mega slice and a medium fountain drink at Casey's for just $4. Restriction may apply, so see the store for details, but a mega slice and a medium fountain drink for $4. I do it on Wednesdays. I go to the Casey's in Carver. Again, Casey's here for good, Casey's.com for all locations. And one last thing before we jump back up to St. Cloud, Paul Charchi and Chad Greenway taking you home on the Friday football feast. I got tickets for Sunday's game against the Los Angeles Chargers, thanks to Unreal. Unreal has teamed up with the Vikings again this year to bring you the Hometown Collection. Units are still available for this week's release at the Eagan and Mall of America Vikings locker room store locations. So, Mall of America Vikings locker room store location, the location in Eagan, Unreal has Unreal Hometown Collections, and their stuff is still available. Also available at the game on Sunday at US Bank Stadium. And thanks to Unreal, caller 11, 800-320-5326. 800-320-5326. You're getting tickets to Vikes and Chargers. Now back to the feast.
Final segment, Friday football feast from St. Cloud, Minnesota. Man, this... Unbelievable. Cheap seats.
Yeah.
Thank you, cheap seats.
Yeah, those are giveaways back there. We see you back there.
Yeah. Cheap seats have been partying, drinking hard back there. Holy cow.
0-2, and look at St. Cloud show up.
I know. Yes.
Unbelievable. Yep. Now, this is going to be no disrespect to anybody, but if we were 0-2 and he dying to be Dubs right now, absolute snooze.
Yeah.
But these folks up here know how to drink at 9 a.m.
They do.
Say that right now.
Yeah. They're 2.5 hours.
They don't do a lot well up here, but they do that really well.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
We got some people here from 5 a.m. Holy cow.
Yeah.
That is dedication.
That's awesome.
Right there. We love it. I want to talk to you about this weird situation with the Bears defensive coordinator, who used to be the Vikings defensive coordinator when you were playing.
Yes.
His name's Alan Williams, and a couple days ago, he quit. It's week 2 going into week 3, and the defensive coordinator quit. What do you remember from his time here? Lots of rumors, by the way, like we think the FBI raided his house. So what do you remember from Alan Williams for starters?
It's a family show. I got to keep this under wraps. So Alan Williams came in, and honestly, he was one of those people, like we've all had him in our lives, and he just happened to be a defensive coordinator of an NFL team. super hard to talk to, socially kind of awkward, kind of have even hard to lead a room, especially an NFL locker room or an NFL defense.
Yeah.
With all his egos and personalities, he just always felt like he was trying to overcome something, and like always felt like he's kind of a shorter guy, shorter stature. Always felt like he had to like prove to you how tough he was or how smart he was or whatever. I just never. You could tell right away. I'd been in the league long enough at that point to understand that he probably wasn't going to have a lot of success based solely on the way he interacted with us players and the other coaches around him. He was a one and done, I think, here. I can't even remember, to be honest with you. But I remember I could talk to paint on the wall and have a fun conversation. I had a hard time with this guy. It was one of those situations where I'm not shocked. The part about this story that is like you don't ever know what to believe on X or Twitter or whatever we call it these days, but some of the stuff you're hearing, whether it's true or not, is odd. Yeah. And if the FBI is involved and they raided his house and taking computers, we all know what that means.
That's not good.
Yeah, that means you're going to prison.
Maybe, yes.
We'll see. But probably shouldn't talk too much until we know exactly facts. But if it happens week 2, there's something going on. It's not just ability to coach.
How does a guy get to be a defensive coordinator if you don't have those?
Let me tell you a story about these coaches sometimes in the league. So, there's nepotism in general in the world, right? I mean, you get hired because my dad owns the company or whatever. But the NFL, man, I'm telling you, there are so many guys, without naming a ton of names, that have no business having that job. And I can remember being late in my career. I honestly never had, I had one, I'm not going to name, but I had one who was one of the best players of all time that came in and just didn't have an ability to coach. Yeah. But he had the job because of who he was.
Because who he was as a player.
And who we knew on the staff. And he gets a job, and all of a sudden now he's hired, and now he's running a room. And I can remember being he would always put plays up. And we'd have to go up there and fill up, like, okay, here's the run play, draw that up, and here's the defense. How would we fit this defense?
Yeah.
So it was like a basic concept that we would, if you play in the NFL, you know this. Go up there, draw up the play, all the blocking scheme, what everybody does. I draw up the defense, what we all do across the board. He's just like, wow. Like, how do you know all that? I'm like, what? At that point, it was EJ, it was Ben Lieber, it was myself, and it was guys who had played and been around the block.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking.
And I'm like, we're just like, we go to. You can imagine the conversation when he leaves the room. It's like, what the hell is going on here? And it's like we all knew more than him. You have that a lot, especially when you get older in your career, when you've done and seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
So that's one thing for it to be a young coach who's trying to earn his way up through and trying to learn. But there's other coaches who have been around, coached their 15th team, sometimes the same team the second time, because a new coach comes around and they only got the job because of who they knew, not because of how good they are.
Is this that guy's initials right here?
Yes.
Yeah, I pretty much figured that. I kind of deduced who we were talking about at that point. Yeah.
And it became so glaringly obvious. It was just unbelievable. But
now,
it happens a lot more than I think the general folks would think about. You think, oh, you're an NFL coach. Like, you have to have all these expertise, or you played.
Yeah.
Like, we all know that if you're a good player, it doesn't make you a good coach, doesn't make you a good communicator, doesn't make you a good motivator. It just makes you a good player.
Yeah.
So completely.
Totally different skill set, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some people can do both.
Yes.
Most people can't do both.
Yes, 100%.
For sure. Now, Kevin Warren's running the Bears.
Yep.
You know Kevin. Kevin knew, their paths were here in Minnesota as well with Alan Williams.
Oh, yeah.
And so Kevin, this is like one of the first really big challenges.
Yeah, how's that new job
Kevin,
going?
right, exactly.
Yeah,
what have I gotten myself into?
Obviously, Kevin was, I think he was named, his title was president here maybe, or was one of those high up titles with the Vikings. He goes to the Big Ten, obviously makes a bunch of changes to the Big Ten, starts adding teams, does some things. He gets obviously the job over there with the Bears. And I saw him actually this last offseason and completely just killed him on going to the Bears.
Of course.
Just chasing money is exactly how I said. It's like you're just chasing the next check. And how could you? But he's got a mess on his hands now because that's a PR nightmare on not a very good team that's 0-2.
Yeah.
And guess what? The NFL doesn't stop. There's another opponent coming that wants to whoop you too.
By the way, it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, they get the Chiefs. So they get the Chiefs this week, it's going to be a long fall in Chicago, which we love.
I want to talk more about Chicago in a second. But what would it have meant to have a defensive coordinator quit on the team mid-season for you as players? What would that have meant?
We had that in the offensive side with.
We fired.
I wish PA was here.
Yeah.
North, thank you.
Yeah, North quit.
St. Cloud. When a coach quits on your team as a fan base, like get out of here. We don't want you anyways. We'll win with somebody else. Now, if a coach quits on your team, it's the same mentality. It's like, clearly you're looking out for yourself because this is going to be a burning ship. You're going to get fired. So he's trying to control his own future and future job. And guess what? Those guys that we just named, still coaching, right? Yeah. Still around the league. My point to the coaches and how it goes, like you find the job, you have a buddy who's a head coach, and you get hired, and away you go.
Right.
So, not a good look in Chicago. The fact that you get quit on or resigned on is not good in several ways. And again, because it's happened in Chicago, you couldn't love to see it to happen to anybody else.
Here's what cornerback Tyreek Stevenson said yesterday about losing the defensive coordinator, Alan Williams. We're not looking at it as a loss. We're looking at it as an opportunity for improvement.
Addition by subtraction.
It is. It's addition by subtraction.
I don't know that player at all.
Well, he's a rookie.
Never met him, but I can guarantee you he's probably right.
Yes.
Just on my experience.
Players know, right?
Players know.
Yes.
Yeah. There's nobody that will identify fraud faster than the NFL locker room. That I can promise you.
Everyone knows.
And they're all well compensated and really mouthy and don't hold back.
They might have an opinion.
So, yeah, when you walked into our locker room with the Pat Williams, Kevin Williams, Jared Allen bit, they found out if you were fraud real quick, and they would try to get you to quit.
Oh, I bet.
Yes.
I bet. I love it.
It was fun to watch.
In Chicago, this is just the beginning. This is just like tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So here, to understand what's going on in Chicago, they really thought they were a playoff team. Justin Fields was the most bet player to win MVP, and Matt Eberflus, their head coach, was the most bet coach to win Coach of the Year.
No, I didn't believe any of that.
Yeah, but that was,
sounds like Chicago's got a gambling problem because that's it. That's why. And another thing, Chicagoans, gamblers always win. The house always wins.
The house does do.
I wouldn't. My opinion of that team was horrendous defensively. I did not believe in them defensively at all. I think Justin Fields is obviously a talented guy that hasn't proven that he can go win in this league. Because guess what? That's really hard. And you have to be multidimensional. And the reason Jalen Hurts is good is because he can beat you with his arm consistently. And yes, he can get himself out of trouble with his feet, but he doesn't have to live with his feet. And I think that's the way you think about the Cam Newtons and that style of quarterback that Justin Fields fits into. That is, if you're run first and you're going to use your legs and your size, that's short-lived, and that will not go win you a bunch of football games because these coordinators and these defenses are just too good, and they will cover you up. And again, the same way we attacked it with Jalen Hurts, you're going to get spied on, and sometime you're going to take a hit, and it's going to shorten your career, and you're going to be out now. The Eagles with Hurts and his style, they're one hit away from not being who they are.
See, I believe the most dangerous place for an NFL quarterback is in the pocket, and I think if you are,
you can't say that without facts. You're a stats guy. Is there more injuries in the pocket?
Yes,
I doubt it.
There are.
Prove it.
If you look at where injuries happen to quarterbacks, it's more often in the pocket than any place. Now they're in the pocket
by
more,
percentage,
but
though. It's all about by percentage.
Yeah, but even when they are out and running, you can see.
You're making this up as you go. You don't know these facts. I'm just saying that.
This is my belief.
By percentage, there's way more risk out of the pocket. There's no way. It has to be. They're so protected in the pocket, anyways.
But they get.
There's an 8-inch window you can hit a quarterback now. And now did you see after the injury to Chubb? They're talking about outlawing going low on runners.
Yeah, that's not. Where else are you supposed to tackle Nick Chubb?
Well,
there's no place left.
We have something really great in the NFL, right? We're all super big fans, and look at this crowd, and look at the fan base. If you want to ruin it, keep making rules like that.
I know.
Because at some point, they're going to ruin it. You're going to stop watching it and loving it because you love. Inevitably, we love the physicality part of it.
Yes, we're here for the violence.
We love the car crashes, right?
Yes.
That's part of what we love. Yeah. Now you can, especially your team is in a defensive position to win and hold a team, to win a football game, and you get a 15-yard penalty for a legitimate legal tackle, but he went low.
Yeah.
I'm out. I'm out on that. That would be absolutely ridiculous. The quarterback thing already is I saw a late hit or a low hit rather last week. I forget the quarterback. But the guy was clearly pushed and blocked into him. He went mid-thigh up. It was more waist than low.
Yeah. And
it's a 15-yard penalty. The drive keeps going. They score a touchdown. You're like, what? That's a win for the defense 99% of the time.
Absolutely should be. And for a guy like Nick Chubb, you're talking about somebody, he gets low, the hit's coming. He's already, lowering his head and his shoulders. The only place left to tackle Nick
Soft.
Chubb is around the legs.
Yeah,
You know,
it's just-
Minka Fitzpatrick had nothing to apologize for.
Not at all. And I think it's a reaction to what makes money in the NFL. And societally, it's like we're just becoming not okay with seeing this gruesome injury. It's like, guess what? That's part of the game.
Yes.
The only thing guaranteed in the NFL is you're going to get injured. And it should be that
Eventually.
way. It should be that
Yeah.
way.
Let's hope
Quite honestly.
Let's hope it's not Kirk Cousins.
Well, no. I mean,
That's
no. Absolutely not.
He takes too many hits. I just feel like sooner or later we've skirted injury with Kirk for so long. With all the hits he's taken.
The less you talk about it, the less chance it's going to happen.
That's
Let's
true.
just move on to another subject.
How about this? Back to Chicago again. So you're talking about Justin Fields. Their other coordinator, Luke Getsy, is getting all kinds of heat. Just and really weird decisions.
Yep.
So Fields has got two really amazing traits: the mobility and the big arm.
Yeah.
Right, you throw 60 yards. He's had 4 designed runs in 2 games.
Perfect.
And he's thrown 4 deep passes in 2 games.
Yeah. Fire him. Fire him.
I mean,
Like, talk about being clueless to the talent you have on your own roster and on the field and how to use them properly.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not having the cojones to make the calls, to go take shots and play the deep ball that he can throw really well.
And your team's getting blown out.
Yeah.
Right? So you would think you would want to put your quarterback who can do 2 special things in a position to go do special stuff.
One thing I want to talk about, and maybe you've already hit this up, is the trades this week. Where's your head at with that? And how do you think that? I know how the reaction to the locker room would be if I was in the locker room.
Oh, well, tell me.
I think the perception of that whole thing was they came out and said, this is not an indictment on a run game or the personnel we have here. It's like, okay, yeah, good luck with that one. Because if you're that guy, if you're Alexander Madison, if you're Ty Chandler, is that a vote of confidence for you? They went out of their way in season, even though it was a good, solid deal.
Yeah.
Still, that's no vote of confidence at all. And again, I'd rather have them come out and be like, we need to infuse our run game. Here's why we did it.
Yeah.
Don't hide behind the decision. Come out and say, here's why we did it. We have to get better. It's a win now mentality, and we think he can help us. As a fan, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah,
if we're making the move because we want to be better, okay, now have a plan to use him, and let's go use him. But don't act like it's not an indictment on what we have currently on our roster, because there's nobody that believes that anyways.
But other than Alexander Madison and Ed Ingram, who look like they're really the guys likely to lose time on this deal, doesn't the rest of the team feel pretty good that you've identified a weakness and you're bringing in somebody to help?
1,000%. And I think the game last week isn't a true indicator on what this team can do in the running game, because when the game gets lopsided, you get behind. Clearly, the play calling has to kind of go towards the passing game, and you have to stay away from things that can take a lot of time, like running the football and being consistent with it. So which means what? We have to be better in the first quarter. We have to possess the ball better offensively.
Yes.
The time of possession, to me, other than the turnovers, was the number 1 talker. Time of possession was 1,000% the number 2 talker, because
40 minutes.
Yeah, you're on the road in Philly.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is get that offense keep that offense on the field and let them get hot, let them get momentum, because then your defense is out there. They're tired. You have the Hurts thing. You have to always have to account for. It's so much easier to go play against a guy who's just going to sit in the pocket. You know where he's always at.
Yeah.
But when every play call has to account for another guy that's typically not in the mix, it makes it really challenging and hard. And I think offensively, our inability to maintain drives, run the football early, be physical up front, and move the chains in just 2nd and 6 situations and 3rd and 4s, and just get that neck, just to keep it going and try to build some momentum and get Kirk in a rhythm. Then you get your running game in a rhythm, and you feel confident with them both, and we're not there. We need to get there quick.
So you've been part of games where you've had to be on the field for 40 minutes, not often.
And you probably lost.
Almost always. I
Almost
don't know
always.
how you win that kind of game. What's it feel like at you're in the 4th quarter of a game in which your defense is on the field 40 minutes?
Yeah.
How gassed are you?
Yeah, because the only way you're in that football game and you're on the field for 40 minutes is if you have turnovers or you have special teams touchdowns.
Yeah.
Physically, you feel exhausted, you're wore out, and it's like another possession, and they get another first down. It's like another set of downs. You never prepared for that long of a drive, especially after a long game.
St. Cloud, Minnesota, this has been amazing. How much fun. Chad Greenway, everybody. Fun.
Yeah, baby. Thank you.
Right here.
Colborn's Liquor up off Pinecone Road from 12 to 1. Come check us out.
Thank you, Jared Wells. Thank you, Street Team. Appreciate all your help. Everybody in St. Cloud, it's been a pleasure. We'll talk to you in 1 week for the next feast. Bye-bye.
9 to noon. If it's good news or money, leave a message.
Podcast it back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or